agree that you have to accept everything what the others say. You can refute. You can refute, you can intervene in the sense at the end of their presentation. You can give a different view also, because it is Manthan. Manthan means you are churning the ocean, and what has to come out is nectar out of it. People can agree to disagree. You can disagree also. You can also bring out the correct messages. Rather than concentrating on what this creative thinking is, we can all say what each school, what we can do really to bring into our system. That would be a learning for all those people who are going to be part and parcel of it. And I wish to end by giving 1 minute to each one of you at the end to conclude your points. When everyone has spoken, each one will be getting 1 minute more to conclude each one's point of view. So I would be speaking very less. You would all be speaking. I will learn. We all at Hema Foundation will learn from you today. So I hope it is okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Great, great, great.
Yes, yes.
Can we start? Akash?
Yes, Anita ji. Yeah.
Please. Anita, can we start?
5-1, ma'am.
5-1.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 5 now. Okay, fine.
Ram Ram Anita ji.
Ram Ram.
All well? Fine?
Yeah, all well.
Oh, several people have joined in. Very good, very good. 38 people have joined in so far. Good, very good. So all the very best to all of you. Rajiv ji, welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. You are rocking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
madam.
are rocking, I said. You are rocking, I said.
But I'm on a simple chair. I don't have a rocking chair.
Chair is not rocking. You are rocking.
Thank you so much.
5. Can we, Anita? Shall we?
Yes, ma'am. We can start, ma'am. Yes. All the best. All the best to all.
All. Correct. Welcome. Akash, the prayer, please.
Arvind. Madam, you are on mute. Vijay, madam, you are on mute.
Okay. Namaskar, Namaskaram. Welcome to Hem Virtues, Hem Manthan. Yes, we are all going to churn the ocean together and take nectar out of it. A great privilege for me. I am part of Hema Foundation, Vijayam Ravi. For a change, I'm going to speak less and you are going to listen to you all more. So my proud privilege to introduce the honorable guests and the speakers today. I will like to welcome the keynote speaker, Ambika Warrior. Ambika Warrior is from Delhi, I suppose. Am I right? You are from Delhi.
That's right.
And you represent the Ananda Center for Counseling. You are a psychologist and also a therapist. So knowing the minds of people more than anyone else, like commoners, we wouldn't know much. You know much about people. And you have an experience of 2.5 decades. And you work with several disadvantaged groups as a volunteer contributor. And that illustrates your kindness. Ambika Madam, you're most welcome to the platform of Hem Virtues.
Thank you so much.
We have, thank you. We have Rekha Vijayakar. Madam Rekha is a very well-known name in the field of education. And she is the senior director of ADAPT, ADAPT. And that expansion of that actually made me love her so much, because able, disabled, all people together. That is really wonderful, a very different approach. And Rekha Madam, with all your 45 years of experience in the field of education, I'm sure you would be contributing much more than anybody else could do. And thank you very much for accepting and being with us today. You're welcome. We have Leena Nair. Leena Nair is a friend of mine, I would say, a very enthusiastic young lady with a spark in her eyes, a principal with a spark in the eye. She represents the New Era Senior Secondary School, Vadodara, as the principal. I know her for quite some time. And she is also a part and parcel of the Sahodaya group, a committee of the Sahodaya group of CBSE schools with 25 years of experience. Leena, you're most welcome into Hema Foundation's Hem Virtues platform.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Great. You're welcome. We have Gurneet Khalsi. And am I pronouncing your name correctly? Correct, right? Khalsi. Okay. You have 23 years of experience. You are the principal of GP International School, West Bengal. So we have a place to come to you. When we visit Bengal, you are there to receive us, I suppose. Yes, you are a resource person and a very well-known principal in West Bengal, and you are here to share your views on the topic. Thank you very much for being with us. We have, thank you. We have Jamila Shaikh, who is the principal of Elia Sarwat Urdu School. Can we have her highlighted, her picture? Jamila ma'am, and she is the principal of this Elia Sarwat Urdu School, and Malwani. The school is in Malwani, Malad, Amchi, Mumbai. Thank you very much for being
Thank you,
here.
ma'am.
So it is a pleasure and privilege to have you all here. You are all the speakers today, and you are going to talk about how to encourage creativity in schools. And I would now take the privilege of introducing the Hema Foundation members. We have the Beacon Light, Shri Mahindra Kabra, who is the managing trustee of Hema Foundation. I don't know whether he's present today, but it is with his blessings that we continue these programs. We have Anita Maheshwari, whom you're all familiar. She calls me Amma, and so I call her my प्यारी बेटी.
सभी को नमस्कार, प्रणाम अम्मा, और आप सभी का बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है ही मंथन में.
Great. And you know, this is actually, she's a beautiful human being, a poetess rather, I would say, writes beautiful Hindi poems, and a very keen, good person, keenly interested in child development and parenting. And she is always presenting healing from real stories. There is a program in Hame Virtue. She represents that. It's good to listen to her. Welcome, Anita, to this program.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Chinu Agarwal. She may be joining us. Oh, ma'am, you're welcome. I was told that you would be a little late. I'm so glad to see you. Our very beloved Chinu madam, a great psychologist and a great observer and a good storyteller. You are most welcome, a trustee of Hema Foundation. You're welcome, ma'am.
Mute.
Could you unmute yourself, ma'am, please? I would. So bless us from there, that would do. Great, great, great. God bless, God bless. We have now Dr. Nagpal, who's the academic director of Hema Foundation, a cognitive psychologist and a person always with a different thinking. So creativity starts from this man in Hema Foundation. Thank you, Nagpal ji, for being with us. And we have...
creativity starts after Anitaji with me. Thank you so much. And I welcome everybody on this platform. Hopefully, I'm going home. I mean, like, I'm in the home, but today my brain is learning something extra today also.
Exactly, all of us. Thank you. We have Rajiv Bhargavaji, who is the creator of Opportunities Unlimited and going to be creative today, giving us a lot of creative thinking, Rajiv ji. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Very nice to be amongst all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Hetal. Hetal is a silent worker behind. If Hame Virtues is going on smoothly, it is because of her contribution. Thank you very much. We have Akash. Thank you. We have Akash, Arvind, and the IT team and all the back-end office people of Hema Foundation. Thank you all for being with us today. Now let us take the program ahead. So we are going to talk about how creativity can be encouraged or encouraging creativity in children. Fortunately, the national education policy has insisted that the creativity in children has to be increasing that creativity or encouraging creativity in children is an essential job of all schools. It has been made mandatory in the chapter 4. So we have to think differently. Thinking differently is a source of creativity. Or people used to say once upon a time, think out of the box. I would say that children should be first inside the box to think out of the box. So our responsibility as principals and educationists is to bring all the children together, let them think beyond any kind of expectation or a reward, to think creatively and bring out their talents outside. Most of the schools are doing this, open-mindedness, analytical thinking, practical way of doing things. These are all symbols of creativity. Schools are all doing. We have great principals being present here. We are going to listen to them, how they have all been doing this encouragement of creativity in their school. So The speakers, I would request you all to speak the purpose of this and how we can do and what is the benefit of it. Taki, all the people present here would be able to take home some great messages. There are great number of people waiting outside to listen to us. So I would request all the speakers to stick to your time. I'm going to hand over the platform to the keynote speaker, Ambika Madam. You have 10 minutes and your time starts now 5:13. So by 5:23, 5:24, you may have to wind up with some good takeaway thoughts. The other speakers, as I mentioned, you can accept her views, you can refute her views, you can argue against it, for it, or give your own ideas. You're most welcome. The floor is yours. Thank you. Welcome, Ambikaji.
Thank you so much. I'm highly honored and privileged to be amidst this august audience. And I, from the bottom of my heart, thank him, Manthan, and the entire team behind this wonderful creative ideas of churning the thoughts together. So today, we all are talking about a very, very relevant topic of all times, not just today's times, it's of all times, which is creative thinking. So thankfully, I guess most of us in this forum are from an era where creativity was like free flowing all over the place. It was unrestricted always. Of course, as time goes by, as centuries pass, as years pass, there is a change in the way things are looked at, things are brought out. And probably, at times some restrictions come in an indirect way, not deliberately. And probably, we got into some other aspect of learning or learning in a different way by way of proper curriculum, by way of proper academics, or probably getting into rote learning. But before I get into all those things, we all are aware, Dr. Vijayam ma'am just said that NEP chapter 4 gives 100% emphasis on creative learning. And so does the World Economic Forum. The emphasis is now suddenly going to creative learning. Why is it so important is the question today. And how can we inculcate this? If we look at the corporate world, there is this new term or a term that has come up, which is called VUCA, V-U-C-A, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So obviously, when there is a lot of complexity, uncertainty, volatility, and ambiguity, what is it that would come to help? Obviously, our creative minds and our creative thinking. So let's look at what is this creative thinking. Before getting into creative thinking per se, I would like to say that all of us as human beings are equipped with the faculty of imagination, which is waiting to be nurtured. And this imagination is one of the 12 resources that a human being has. So with this nurturance, which is why we're saying importance of creative thinking, this nurturance would help us develop our cognition, our conceptualization, and our strategic planning. And this would act as resources which are naturally called upon in a problem-solving situation. So now we understand the importance of having that creative thinking in our children, because we're trying to equip them with the capacity to solve their problems in their own way, taking those small baby steps and growing up into an individual. Now, what is creative thinking? In simple words, I would like to say, or this is my thought, that creative thinking is inspiration, which is rightly governed or channelized by wisdom. And this creative thinking is learning for life. It helps us solve real-life problems with the resources that we have at hand and generating the resources as and when and if required. Now, quickly, I would go on to the 7 essential ingredients of creative thinking. So in creative thinking, what what are required, or what is it that are getting enhanced? It is the receptivity, receiving what is being given. Are we open to receiving, or how open are we, or how can we reach that stage of, like Vijayam ma'am said, open-mindedness? So receptivity. The next one is curiosity. When I see something, that curiosity that is generated in me. And with this curiosity, there is a door open to a range of interests. And now if you see, the curiosity and range of interests are kind of interconnected. The more interest we have, the more curious we are. The more curious we are, the more interest we may eventually inculcate in us and in our children. Like ma'am said, you know, the child should be in the box first to think out of the box. So it's like, what came first, the egg or the hen? And from there, once we are curious, once we have interest, comes attentiveness. And then the connection seeking of all these things that are available in front of us, with us. And then working ahead, going ahead with that conviction we have. Having that risk-taking capacity, the calculated risk-taking capacity with that conviction, walking ahead. And then being able to solve complexities. So these are the 7 ingredients that we would see in creative thinking. If there was no creative thinking, today we wouldn't have been on Zoom. If there was no creative thinking, Vijayam ma'am in the beginning, when Rajiv sir came, she said, "Sir, you're rocking." And he said, "Oh, but I'm sitting on a simple chair." So that is creative thinking. So it was just the resources that we had, we used in creative thinking. The moment I say, you know, moon, many of us would think of a full moon. Some of us would think of a crescent moon. Some of us would think of a half moon. And when I say full moon, some of us may think of the craters inside the moon. Like as a child, I would always see a deer inside the moon. So for me, moon still has that deer inside. Some others would say, oh, there is a mountain, there is a hill. So these are all creativity and imagination. And human beings are the only species in this world who has this capacity of imagination. So how can we use this imagination to become creative? Looking at the clouds, we all find different shapes. We all feel we can talk to those shapes in the cloud. So this is what is imagination, and this is how we go into creative thinking. Now, why is creative thinking important? This helps us first to accept challenges. Today, I'm so happy to be here because so many examples have come out of our own conversations. Like Dr. Nagpal said, you know, previously Bengal used to lead India. And I'm ready to accept any leader who would take me in a forward direction. So that was a creative way of his to put in his words that we all should lead by example. But it came in such a beautiful way. And many of us, the way we said namaste, namaskar, or thank you, were in such novel ways. And the way Vijayam ma'am introduced us was so different. And she was very upfront saying, in case some technological glitches would happen, somebody else should take the lead, whoever that may be. That is where accepting challenges come. So no matter what happens, I'm ready, I'm here. Let us do it. The next one is learning from failures. It's okay to fail, but it's more important to learn from failures. So when I have that creative thinking, when I start working on my curiosity, on my interest, when we help our children do that, they would not be afraid of failures. They would take it in their stride. It's a part of our life. Failure is the stepping stone to success. That's what they would realize eventually from their own experiences. The next one of the most important one, that's where they would learn their problem solving. How do they solve their own problems? Can we be always with our children? No, and that's not what we're supposed to do. Like recently, I was in a parenting workshop. I was with Dr. Chinu Agrawal, and I was giving one of the examples. I have a mango tree outside my house, and there was this bulbul family. The newly hatched bird had come out and it kind of fell down onto a plant right below the mango tree. And the way the parents kept calling out to that little baby, the little baby did not know how to flutter its wings. So I was standing inside the house and watching this for a good half an hour. Finally, it realized, oh, it could flutter its wings. So the size of the baby was just this much. So one feather came out of that wing and went up and down. And slowly it realized it could open its wings. And then the parents, the father and the mother birds, started flying across, calling out to it. And eventually the baby flew. So this is what is problem solving. The baby managed to solve the problem with the help of its parents. The parents did not touch the baby. Then comes risk taking, like I said before. We'll have that confidence to take that risk. Right now, many a times we see younger generation telling, "Aap bata do mujhe kya karna hai." Yes, aap bata do, I'm here. Batane ke liye hoon main yahan pe. Par aap koshish to karo. That is what we need to tell them. And then innovation, then comes the feeling of achievement and accomplishment. When I earn something, when I do something, it is mine. And then enhancing, all these things would lead us to enhancing our mental, physical, and psychological well-being, which is most important. And 2020 showed us that 100%. And now some quick tips. I know I'm too small a pie to talk about these things. I have such great, honorable teachers and principals in front of me. But still, मैं गुस्ताखी करूंगी to give some few tips. So the first one is in school, of course, what else can help children better? But to introduce more activities, activities-based learning, depending upon the subject. Start field trips, even if it is to the school park, school garden, nearby park, nearby garden, whatever it is, field trips. Teamwork, put children into teams. Let them fight it out, let them talk it out, let them discuss and come up. Let them learn to agree, let them learn to disagree, let them agree to disagree, whatever works the best for them. Working progressively with input from students. Let us take their input. Even if it may be wrong once in a while, let's show that mistake so that the child learns from his or her mistake. It's okay to be wrong. It's not shameful to be wrong. And then finally, the greatest proponent here, Dr. Chino Agrawal, who always talks about experiential learning. This is the most important step that we all should look at. That's where we should probably reduce that rote learning a little bit. Experiential learning, let children experience. What is it? And ma'am does it so wonderfully well and in very simple words. Now, the next is few points that I would like to give for parents. Let us, as parents, encourage children to read whatever they wish to read, age appropriate. Let them draw, let them sketch. It's fine. The nose does not need to look like a nose. It can look like a ball. It's okay. The eyes could be 2 rounds or 2 dots. It's fine. Let's just take it. Let the baby, let the child grow up with it. Let us encourage our children to be in physical environment. It's okay. Mitti lag gayi, koi baat nahi, Surf Excel hai na. Right? Just take a pouch hai. So let children be exposed to some of the real life problem. गिर गया कोई बात नहीं. आ जाओ हम धो लेंगे, Dettol लगा लेंगे, Savlon लगा लेंगे. You would be fine. That's not the end of the world. Let play with the child, but follow the child's lead. Let him tell us what to do. It's okay to be wrong. Again, allow the child to solve his or her own problems. And now involve the child in daily, family, and household activities, which is what I think is kind of missing sometimes in today's life. So now with the last 3 statements, I come to the conclusion here. Every child experiences the world differently. No 2 children would experience it the same. Their learning lies in their journey, not in their outcome. So let us applaud their journey. Let us applaud their effort. And finally, the end is short-lived, but the journey continues. So with this, I end my keynote talk. And thank you very much once again. And over to you, ma'am.
That was really wonderful, very great. You know, what I could see, Ambika, is that, see, we are all educationists, but you are all psychologists. So you have a different way of approaching things. When we say the student is not learning, you would not be looking at as the student is not learning. You would be actually looking for the reason why the student is not learning. So creativity starts from psychologists, I would say, rather. Anyway, it was a wonderful talk, very great talk. And Ambika has left us with several inputs, starting from the corporate world following VUCA on to the 12 resources of creativity, fundamental being the imagination and inspiration, and also seven essential ingredients for curiosity. And one of the most important thing, which I felt personally, it may or may not be the same with others, is, Ambika, is accepting failure. This is something which our kids are not tuned to today. They learn everything so well, going to several coaching classes. They acquire great credentials and join an IIT or a medical college. In the first year or second year, they are not able to face that pressure or failure, and they commit suicide. The resilience is not there, and you psychologists have to guide the entire school principals how, for the children, it is possible for them to overcome the sense of failure. Failure is just another learning. Our kids need to remember that. You also introduced several methods by which the schools can adopt creativity. It's beautiful. The listeners would have benefited from that. The principals would have benefited from that. I'm so glad that we could listen to Ambika's view. Now, may I invite Rekha ji to give your views. Rekha ji's time starts now, 5:30. 5 minutes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Ambika ji. Thank you, Vijaya ma'am. Yes, the topic for the day is encouraging creative thinking in children. I will reduce that to encouraging children precisely, because once you encourage them, the creativity just follows. All right. And for that, yes, we got all the key points from Ambika ji. There is one thing which I would emphasize is the person, the teacher. If the teacher, like how Vijay, with your big smile, we are comfortable talking and coming forward with our views. But in the classroom, if the teacher is like a Hitler, come on now, sit, okay? I came with so many creative thoughts in my mind. Oh, I swallowed all of them, because what I saw in front of me was a big lion. For some, it is big lion. For some, it is big tiger. For some, it is something very big. Why? Because the teacher has not molded herself to be with the children. So where is the encouragement? It is encouragement first. Because if you will realize that all children are creative. The day they were born, they were creative. They were so creative that they know that when I cry, I get milk. Correct? So I don't have to do anything. That creativity is naturally with them. Similarly, we parents go out of our way to buy toys for them. But what are they comfortable with? Oh, anything that is found around, kitchen wares, kitchen tumbler, whatever it is, you know how many things they can do it. Give a hockey stick in the hand, they will make a gun out of it. That is creativity. So what we need is, be a good listener. Just listen to what they have to say. We do not have time to do that. We do not encourage them to do that, because we think, I know better. No, wait. What are you talking? No. That no should go absolutely out from the class. Encourage your children. And what is important is that if my teacher is ready to listen to me, I can come forward. All right. Accept whatever it is. I had a child of 5-year-old whom I was trying to just show her a brain which came from the 10th standard, the parts of the brain. And I thought I was the greatest teacher, okay? And I said, look, this is, try to touch it. Oh, it is soft, you know, you will not hit your child here. I said everything till a little girl behind tapped my shoulder and said, teacher, teacher, I fry and eat it. Wow. See, these are the experiences of the children. Now, I would be a bad teacher who say, come on, shut up. What am I talking about? No, I have to appreciate that because it was a learning for me also. You will never, I mean, you will not disagree with me when I say that we learn a lot from our children. How? Because they are creative. They tell us with their way of interacting with us, they tell us first what is their need. If you have not listened to the child, you will not know what to give. So first listen to your children. They have a lot to tell you. I was talking to another child of say about 5, I think he was 5 then, and I was trying to say, that was my grandchild, I was trying to say we are Hindus, so on Gudi Padwa, we have this. Till my grandson told me, oh Aji, I thought I was an Indian. There you are. I stopped. I just stopped there. That was also creative. So the thoughts which come to them are creative and then they put them into practice. That is what is we need to accept that. Of course, because we also said that, but accept it with a smile. The smiling personality of the teacher is very, very important. So for encouragement, what is actually important is the teacher per se. Are you open? Do you look open? You may say, no, I like all the things, but what is your expression? If you say, I like everything that is taken by, but look at your eyes. I'm scared. So what is important is the smiling personality of the child and how you look, your gestures, everything is important in the class. How you even if the child is making noise, to ask him to keep quiet also, you need to calm down. Who makes the most noise in the schools? The answer is teachers. Okay. And then we ask the children to keep quiet. All right. Now that all that encouragement and creative thinking will come only when the teacher changes her personality and makes herself a real, like a godly, nobody has seen God, but I suppose God is very, very encouraging and God is very loving. So make yourself very loving, very giving, and then you will see how the children are free to come and talk to you. Unless the children are free and to come and talk to you, they cannot be creative. They have a lot of creativity in there. Just give them a hand. Where I work in ADAPT, some of them don't even have words to say, they are non-verbals, but you have to be receptive to understand them. And they have lots to tell you even without words. They have creativity even without words. Accept them. Then we will, and that is the real way, we will be encouraging them to be creative. And that is what all I have to say. Thank you so much for giving me this.
Great. It is such a wonderful feeling, Rekhaji, to listen to you. I could relate a lot of myself with you when you were talking like this. It is the problem is not with our kids. Problem is with adults.
Yes.
Problem is always with adults. Children are children. They are great. They have come from the great source and they are great. So you, Rekhaji, emphasized on, see, the topic is encouraging creativity. We are all wondering how creativity can be done or encouraged. She has gone a little further and saying, what is this encouragement all about? And that's really good. And you mentioned the role of a teacher. You also mentioned the need to listen to people. We all hear, but we don't listen. The problem with schools today is that teachers all hear the children, but they don't listen to the children. There are great exceptional schools where teachers listen to children, and they are the most creative schools also. You also mentioned a most important thing about giving the space for children. They have a space in this world, and give that space for the children to express, to ask questions, to encourage curiosity, weird questions they could ask. You wanted them to give that place to them. That was really wonderful, Rekhaji. It is a pleasure to listen to you. I can understand what a great teacher you would have been when you were in school. Okay, now let's go to Lena. Lena, we are all ears for you.
Thank you so much, Vijay ma'am. After listening to Ambika ma'am and Rekha ma'am, I think what I would want to tell everyone is, something to add to it. Like all of us know that creativity is more of a skill than inborn talent, okay, which both parents and teachers can facilitate among the kids by giving them an outlet. But one thing I want to stress over here is that there is a common misconception that the best way to encourage children's creativity is simply to get out of the way and let them be creative. Although it's certainly true that children are naturally curious and inquisitive, they need support to develop their creative capacities and reach their full creative potential. Supporting children's development is always a balancing act. Supporting like how much structure, how much freedom to be given, when to stop, when to step back, when to show, when to tell, when to listen. So, I would talk with respect to, a parent as well as a teacher. So how do teachers, come into the picture? Because I always believe that because this is the pattern of Hem virtues, I would want to add over here that it is the supreme art of a teacher to awaken the joy of creative expression and knowledge. So, three pillars of education system, 21st century education system: creativity, literacy, and numeracy. Now, when it comes to creativity, the teachers have a great challenge. Number one is teaching creativity creatively, and number two is teaching for creative learning. So if one can include this in teaching, so number one is teaching creatively is, we have to practice before we preach. We talk about creativity, we talk about encouraging creativeness in students. Then how are we going to go forward with that? As teachers, as parents, we have to project that creativeness in us, correct? So what I want to tell everyone here is that we also, as parents, as teachers, have to be creative. We cannot be entering the class without any preparedness. For example, while teaching a lesson, I have to exactly plan how am I going to include my activities in such a way that there's a lot of creativeness in that. Maybe a PPT, maybe a drama, maybe a role play. So I myself have to be creative to project that. Secondly is teaching for creative learning, giving them, there comes the space, how am I going to give them space, make them think, make them research, giving them activities like, for example, being an English teacher, I am teaching them a poem, okay? So I would want them to research on that poet, his genre of poems, different poems which the poem may, the poet may have, put forth, and what all were the themes in those poems. So let them research, let them think. So that is teaching for creative learning. So first of all, these two aspects have to be very clear. Number one is teaching creatively, and number two is teaching for creative learning. And then of course, the 5 components to develop creative habits in students while teaching, or, as parents, we have to look forward to 5, not 5, I would say 6. Number one is brainstorming. We all of us know about that while teaching a lesson, or even as at home. If we want our children to know something different, we have to brainstorm them. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? What if? Why? How? All those questions, to raise those curiosity in the students, we have to do a lot of brainstorming there. Then comes raising inquisitiveness. present them with challenges that make them wonder and question. Now, for example, simple example I want to give you is that one particular Saturday, we had to give our students a holiday because it was a rainy day or something like that, But now that we have technology with us, the homework that we gave our students was to sit in the balcony and watch for an hour, whatever they can, maybe the vehicles on the road, maybe the surroundings, maybe the nature, maybe the people walking on the roads, and observe them, whatever you want, you observe them. So when they came back next day, the teachers, asked them different questions on the vehicles. There were trucks, there were cars, there were scooters. They spoke on the number of wheels. Why some vehicles move faster, some of them they not so fast, and the people on the road. So these are the kind of activities which created a lot of curiosity in them. They started thinking out of box also, and secondly, last week itself, we had floated one Google form wherein we had asked them to, to put in problems that they may have seen around. And we got so many problem statements from them and possible solutions also, which we are going to have a Manthan kind of a thing, maybe when the school reopens in the month of April. So they're going to ideate on those problems and possibly find some solutions in whatever capacities they can. So this is what I believe, that this is one of the ways in which we can encourage creativity in students. And along with that, now we have planned so much to encourage curiosity or creativity in students, but at the same time, whatever teaching we do in the class, we have to assess also, not pen paper test, but assess in the way, are they asking questions or not? Are they finding our lessons challenging or not? Are they able to make connections or not? Are they using metaphors? Are they envisaging what might be? What may happen if it rains continuously? So are they visualizing some alternatives for any problems? Are they exploring ideas? So these are the ways we must constantly be in touch with students, whether they are able to focus on these aspects as well. So I would want to rest my points here by saying that, this is the way one can generate or, make them feel enthusiastic about being creative. Thank you.
Great, Leena. See, you have all watched her speaking, right? So it shows beyond a doubt that for any school to be creative, we all need a creative principal.
Right.
And I'm so thankful you mentioned it. Yes, you mentioned about the need for support for children. You also mentioned about a balancing act, and going out of the way is a sense of creativity, but then how one has to balance there. You beautifully mentioned it. You also mentioned about the preparedness of teachers. So your concentration was more than the children. Yes, how creative are the teachers? So that is very, very important. And we very conveniently, we leave that factor. We are only keen on our children becoming creative. But how creative are our teachers to teach that creativity? So that is something very important. You said, you also mentioned about inquisitiveness, being present, asking, the readiness to ask questions. And you also mentioned in a subtle way, taking a feedback from people. And that is something, Leena, let me tell you, today, most of the people don't want feedback.
Yeah, technically,
because
it is reflecting.
Exactly. People are scared today. I remember I'm consulting some school in some place. That school has, they were discussing with me how to prepare an assessment for them. At the end of their assessment sheet, believe me, Leena, they have asked, how much you will rate this question paper? Which question was acceptable to you? Which question was difficult for you? Do you think we can still improve? That needs a lot of courage for the school to ask a feedback from children. So that is also a height of creativity, I would say. And thank you, and be a creative principal for the lifetime, I would say. And I'm sure your school will be definitely benefited with your
Thank you, ma'am.
input.
I have taken points from your sessions as well, which have been conducted workshops.
Correct.
Thank
Now
you.
we have, thank you, Lina. I am welcoming Gurmeet Kalsi to share her views. Gurmeet, the place is yours. Yes,
Unmute yourself, ma'am.
yeah, please. Please unmute.
It's not happening. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we are able to hear you now. Yes.
Now. So first of all, thank you, Vijay ma'am, and all the panelists and all the speakers for this insightful, your ideas and all. These were really very good. So as Ambika ma'am has already said about the curiosity and the inquisitiveness, and Leena ma'am has also mentioned, I would like to add one thing more over here is that we all know that children are born with curiosity. But somewhere from the beginning only, we just crop that curiosity and we don't allow them to open up with the things and ask questions. At home, if the child, when the child is 2 to 3 years, he starts talking and he's so curious about the world around him. At that time, he asks lot many questions. And in the today's world, parents don't have time for them. At that time only, we say that, okay, keep quiet. We don't want to answer. You talk so much. So somewhere we are crubbing the curiosity of the child, inquisitiveness of the child. Same thing happens when the child goes to the school. In a class of 40 students and with a limited time for the teacher to complete the topic, when the children ask questions about what the teacher is teaching, and if one child is asking many questions, then and there the teacher says that, okay, please don't disturb me now. Ask me later. I'm not blaming the teachers because they are also having a limited time and they are in a rush to finish the portion or to finish whatever has been given to them. But still, we need to ponder over this. We need to think how to, means we all know what are the problems, but we need to find out the solutions for that problem. That is what is more important. So in this way, as because we ourselves are asking the child to keep quiet and not encouraging their curiosity is itself that we are not encouraging them to be creative. So there we need to think over. Next is that it is rightly said by Rekha ma'am that connection is to be built among the teacher and the child, among the parent and the child. Once a connection is built, it is very, very easy to generate that curiosity among the child and to help him to explore the entire world. Because for the child, everything is new. Everything is going on in the mind. So many thoughts are there. So many things are there. Now he wants to express those things, and somewhere we are suppressing that one. So we need to think about these things and change our technology and attitude and everything and methodology towards dealing with these children. Another thing is that, yes, it has already been pointed out by the panelists that we need to listen to the child, because nowadays we don't have time to listen to them. Nobody. Earlier times, it was a joint family. Grandparents and others, they have ample time to spend with their grandchildren. So the children used to get somebody to listen to them. But now in the nuclear family, and that too with both the parents working, we have hardly time to spend with them. And that is really very pathetic. These children whom they will discuss with, they look up to us only, but we don't have time for them. This is what is creating problems in our society as well as the children's growth. That is where the problem is arising. And we need to, if we get time, we need to observe the children. Believe me, as a principal, what I do is that I always, whenever I'm going into the class to monitor my teachers, apart from monitor the teachers, I am looking and observing my children, how they are behaving, what they are doing, and try to find out why they are behaving in that way. And that helps me to learn a lot, to understand them. understand their problems. So I think if we observe the children, and I make it a point that my junior teachers and others, those who have ample, means a little bit of time, we let our children for the free day, and I want my teachers to just sit and observe what they're doing. Let them do what they're doing. You need to observe only. And we have a criteria for marking them or giving them points and all that, all those, just to find out where the improvement is required, what child requires to be, means in which field the child requires to be helped, in what way the child requires to be helped. Only for that only we just observe them, and just according to the parameters we are grading them. Next, one more thing which we have incorporated in our school, and I would like to discuss on this platform, is that I think imagination is the most important things, and we need to inculcate imagination among our students. And what I believe as a principle is that reading gives us a lot of imagination. So we need to inculcate the reading habit in our children. So what we have done in our school is that we have made it a point that 20 minutes of one period, we have taken out to one period of 20 minutes, and within that 20 minutes, that period is utilized for reading. And we have named that period as a happy reading period. So every child, whatever he wants to read, there are books, we have kept books in the classes, and whichever book the child wants to take, and whatever the child wants to read, the child is allowed to read. And during that time, you just can't believe, during that time, if you walk into the corridors, you will find that it's pin drop silence. All the children are engrossed in the reading, because they have been trained in, means they have been helped in such a way, or trained, I can say, in such a way. And over the periods, they have developed the habit of reading. And that gives a lot of imaginative wings to them, which also helps in the development of the child. Apart from this, one more thing which we have introduced is that on Saturday, we have 1 hour of housekeeping activity for the children. In this activity, what they do is that they just clean up their own classrooms, and we have divided the students into batches, and then the entire campus is being cleaned along with the teachers, along with the principal, along with everybody. So all of us are doing this activity. And this activity has helped to change the behavior of so many children. So the problems which were there with the children, we have been able to overcome so many things and rectify those things, and really it is helping a lot. So I think in this way, this is also, you can say, a creative idea of the school to inculcate the habits in the students. And like this, if we can think of little things and smaller things which we can develop into the habits among the children, that would make a lot of difference, I think. It's not a big Herculean task. It's a very small steps we can take, each one of us. Thank you so much.
Great, Gurmeet. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. You know, you spoke 2-3 most important points. Most important points is that the role of a joint family, how it helps the children to be free and asking questions, because we do recall our good old times, how we were curious to know 100 things, and without any kind of a tiredness, our grandparents used to give us answers. Today's parents have no time for it. And, you know, that is one of the most important point you mentioned. And also the other thing which I could see is a psychological approach of a principal towards observation. Observation in a classroom is something extremely important for any teacher. Listening, as Rekhaji mentioned, listening is very important. Teacher's role is important. Similarly, observing the children is also equally important. And I like your idea of happy reading period, and also 1 hour housekeeping time for the children. Actually, that would be really a great idea. So it is a creative school that you are creating. And I'm sure the principals and the other teachers who are listening to this kind of a program would take cues from that and step out of the comfort zone. Because why I say this, because you know, you are from West Bengal, right?
Yes.
In Bombay, if we ask our children to clean the classrooms, the next day the parents will be standing in at our gate.
I would
That
like
is a kind of an.
May I add
Yes,
something
ma'am.
to this?
Sure, sure, ma'am.
Initially, I also faced a lot of problem. So what I
Great.
thought is that let me talk to the parents. So I arranged a meeting with the parents and made them understand what is the use of these things.
Use of
And they
exactly.
They accepted it.
That's
And
the
then
point.
we are able to do.
Yes. Taking the parents into confidence is the fundamental to introducing any great creative programs. You made it very clear. And that was really wonderful, Gurmeet. So beautiful listening to you. So now let us pass on to the next speaker is, one second, just a small, Jamila. Jamila is going to speak to us now. Jamila, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vijaya ma'am.
Yeah.
So most of the speakers, they have talked many things about the creativity in developing the students. So I just want to say creativity, actually it is born in babies. बचपन से ही बच्चों के अंदर एक creativity होती ही है. We just have to develop that creativity in the students. And actually it is the need of the today's world, I think, because just that world is rapidly changing and it's very fast changes and developments are occurring in the world. So as per that, हमको हमारे बच्चों को भी उतना ही creative और आगे लेके जाना है. So for that we have to do something, and changes have to do in the teachers and as well as we principals also. So some points I have can say that teachers can do in their classrooms to develop the creativity in the students. Actual may, as I say, teacher can develop the creative playing in the groups as well as the struggling in the real life. Means the teachers have to give them some problem solving things. If the opportunities to solve their problems as well as to write there and note down what the situations they are facing, and as well, so they can understand कि क्या problems आ रहे हैं और उनको किस तरह से solve करना है. तो ये उनके अंदर डेवलप होता है, and this is the creativity we can encourage in the students. As well as I think they have the habit of writing also. Means if we will give something problem solved to them, they have to write down it. So next time when we will give anything to them, so they can imagine and they can understand what the things they have done in the before, और वो जो लिखा हुआ उनके पास रहेगा उसी से वो लोग नई चीज को क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. As well as I think we have to give the opportunities to them to read the about the great leaders and creative persons के जिन्होंने वर्ल्ड में बहुत सारी चीजें क्रिएट किया है और बहुत सारे नए आइडियाज उन्होंने लेकर आए हैं. जैसे कि हम कह सकते हैं एडिसन थॉमसन के बारे में, और हमारे जो है अबू कलाम आजाद जिन्होंने वो बनाया रॉकेट लॉन्च किया था. तो इस तरह के ग्रेट लीडर्स के बारे में जब हम उनको स्टडी करने के लिए मटेरियल्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उनको एक थिंकिंग आती है कि वी कैन आल्सो डू दैट थिंग्स. तो वो भी एक नई नई चीजें क्रिएट करने की कोशिश करते हैं. इवन आई थिंक के बच्चों को अपॉर्चुनिटीज देनी चाहिए गेम्स के अंदर. जैसे कि बच्चे, हम बचपन से ही बच्चों को गेम्स देते हैं जिसको हम ब्लॉक्स के गेम्स देते हैं, हम उनको ड्राइंग्स करने के लिए देते हैं. तो लेट देम प्ले विद देम एंड मेक देयर ओन थिंग्स विद दैट. तो इससे भी उनके अंदर क्रिएटिविटी डेवलप कर सकते हैं. गिव द अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू द स्टूडेंट्स टू वर्क इन द ग्रुप. So in group if they are working, so they can understand the different ideas of different students also. So with that उनके नए आइडियाज उनको पता चलते हैं कि हर बच्चे में कुछ एक नया आइडिया होता है, और वर्क जब वो लोग ग्रुप में वर्क करते हैं तो लीडरशिप बिल्ड होती है उनके अंदर। आई थिंक कि हम जो आज बच्चों को बनाना चाह रहे हैं, इट्स नॉट अ फॉलोवर, हमको बच्चों को फॉलोवर नहीं बनाना है, वी हैव टू मेक देम अ लीडर। So for developing this leadership, we have to make the student creative and develop the creative thinking in them. So for that, I think teachers as well as the principals, they have to work together. And as I can say, the benefit of the creative thinking in students, so we can they can become a better problem solver, as well as they can connect with the community. Even they can save their money also if they become a creative thinker. Expand the sense of time, कि हम टाइम को किस तरह से एक्सपांड कर सकते हैं और किस तरह से यूज करते हैं, क्रिएटिव जोन्स पे कैसे यूज करते हैं। This is can be benefits, and self awareness and self expression it develops in the students. हम बच्चों में एक सेल्फ अवेयरनेस भी पैदा करते हैं और they can express their views in society. Even the freedom of speaking also is developed by the creative thinking. So they can think, they can imagine, they can observe all the things around the world, and freely they can express their views. This is the benefit of it. Stress relief also. Sometimes what happen, because all the things we can see and they are not able to do something, so they are become very stressful. वहीं पर अगर हम उनको फ्रीडम देते हैं कि दे कैन एक्सप्रेस देयर व्यूज, दे कैन फ्रीली वर्क देयर वर्क्स, तो एक स्ट्रेस जो बच्चों के अंदर होता है वो कम हो सकता है। तो दिस आर द सम थिंग्स व्हिच आई हैव थिंक इट्स नेसेसरी फॉर द क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग इन द स्टूडेंट्स। एंड वैसे सभी जितने भी स्पीकर्स थे, ऑल दे हैव उन्होंने सभी कुछ बताया है, एंड थैंक यू so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Jamila ji. That was really good. One or two great things you have shared with us is also, you were mentioning about, particularly you were concentrating on giving opportunities to teachers to exercise creative thinking in children through various activities. You have mentioned it, through problem solving activities. And one of the important things you mentioned was writing. If someone was mentioning about reading, the previous speaker was speaking about, Gurmeet was mentioning about the importance of reading. You were highlighting the importance of writing, how important writing is also towards creative thinking. And also you mentioned something extremely important, is giving examples of role models, the good old leaders of us. And in fact, we are very proud to say that Hem Virtues has several activities wherein the stories of the great leaders have been illustrated through Hem Virtues activities. So you would be able to, if time permits, you can go through all those. It's a treasure that Hema Foundation has created for all the principals and teachers. You can look at that, because looking at the role models also, children learn to be creative. You also mentioned about giving opportunities and freedom for children to think. And one of the beautiful thing you mentioned is creativity is also a stress relief. That's really wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Jamila ma'am. So I would say this today's program has been a very, what do you say, a colorful program, I would say. Why? Because it was showing, starting from the psychological viewpoint of creativity, it was taken through an experienced educationist like Rekha. She took us through a different way how to encourage. We went through a creative principle. We went through a very creative school, and where we are ending is giving role models to children. It was a very colorful program today, and we enjoyed it. I would now quickly I gave you 1 minute in the beginning, but I have lost, time is very precious to each one of you. So I would request, starting from the key speaker, half a minute to consolidate your thoughts after listening to everyone. Quickly, one by one, if you are able to consolidate, that would be the takeaway for the listeners.
So yes,
Ambika ji.
thank you. Yes, a lot for each of us to do for our children. That's the nutshell that I would like to put in. Beginning with us, not beginning with the child. Everything, the changes begin from us. So that's what I think it is all about.
Beautiful.
All right.
Rekha ji?
I would like to say all teachers must have a smiling personality. Keep a smile. That would be inviting all the children without any stress. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, Lena?
Yes. So, ma'am, when Benjamin Bloom identified in his taxonomy, the creativity as the most difficult skills and to master, because a person has to use all of the other cognitive skills as well, which all of them mentioned right now. All the panelists mentioned that to achieve all these skills, one has to be creative. Thank you.
Exactly. Creative principle again. Yes, 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 yes. Gurmeet ji?
Yes, ma'am.
Gurmeet?
Yes, ma'am. Again, I would like to say that observe and listen to the children and give them some.
Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. And Jamila, ma'am?
Definitely, ma'am. I would like to say that we have to change ourselves first and try to make the leaders in our society.
Role model, role model. The principals and teachers as role models and take cues from the role models already in the
Definitely.
society. So that was wonderful, all of you. Each one of you so greatly pointed out, and I enjoyed personally. I learned a lot from all of you. You're all so young, beautiful. Probably Rekha and me only are a little oldies here. So we learned a lot from you.
But
Vijay ma'am,
Yes,
ma'am,
you
vibrant.
mentioned the emotional rocking there. I would like to mention your age is just a number. So
Yes.
17 is just on paper and in looks perhaps, but you are
Yes,
as
yes.
young, maybe more than younger than
Thank
us.
you. Thank
in
you.
belief.
Thank you, all of you listening to us, all the viewers, all the honorable principals and teachers. Thank you for being with us. We request you all to be with us again in the coming days. We are having the next program next Wednesday, which is going to be led by Dr. Chinu. And the topic is enhancing sensitivity to the environment. And we have a very, very renowned psychologist, Dr. Chinu, and a great observer. She is going to lead the talk, and kindly pass on this message to all your friends and all the parents and students as well. And we expect you to be present. And thank you once again on behalf of HEMA Foundation. With folding hands, we take leave of you. Thank you. Great day.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Let's have the Vande Mataram. Thank you.